You've got so many accolades, and the reason why I brought you on here is because not only do you stand out in this industry and been nominated like 24 years consecutively for British Hairdresser of the Year, and you need to win it. You're amazing.
Yes,
you know, you're a mentor. You do so much for the community. You do a lot for British hairdressing, and you are so unique. So I just want to just dive into, you know, growing up and your relationship with hair. If you can just give me like your memories of first that moment that you went, I'm going to do hair. That's what I want to know.
I think in this profession and in this life, careers choose you. Hairdressing was always my vocation. It was always something I absolutely homed in on, and it was something I took to like duck to water. So, you know, from the very young age, like 4, 5, I knew it was hair. My mum was amazing because she was always encouraging me to do stuff. She was a nurse, but she was a qualified seamstress as well. So she was always making dresses, and not for me, I may add. She was always making dresses and very creative. And she encouraged that because I'm one of 5 and I've got 4 brothers and they're all academics. So when I came out of the ranks saying I wanted to become a hairdresser, my mum and dad said, oh, that's different. And they just literally, they kind of gave me the best kind of direction. And the rest is history in regards to that. I've just kind of not climbed my way. I've kind of progressively, you know, steps, because I was born in East London, and anybody who knows East London, it's a very hard kind of judgmental area. If you said you wanted to become a hairdresser, you would have been victimized and beaten to a pulp.
Yeah.
So I kept that very quiet growing up.
That's interesting that you said that you're victimized. Do you think it made you work harder? I mean, how did you actually get past all of that? Because obviously being a boy doing hairdressing and being the odd one out, essentially, you know, how did you combat all that, like mentally, and who helped you?
Well, I was fortunate enough to, one of my best friends, they had a house in Chelsea. So from 16, I moved out, to my mum's horror and my dad and everybody else, because they said, how can you afford to live from home? But again, my friend was fortunate. He was the only child. He had literally about 4 rooms to himself. And he said, come and, you know, you can live with me. So that literally changed my life. So just imagine a 16-year-old boy. I got an apprenticeship in London and I'm living in Chelsea. Come on.
I mean, that's sort of like a privilege, really, isn't it? I have to say.
It was.
It's not like stepping into any salon. You're stepping into Chelsea from East London.
Exactly. But all I can say in East London, you know, you would never say things like that because of the male to testosterone. There was so much kind of angst of, you know, and I would say growing up in the East End, you know, everybody was kind of anti-black, anti-gay, anti-everything. So I just had to get out, and I did. So I was fortunate enough to kind of be in Chelsea and serve my apprenticeship in Knightsbridge. So I was really lucky.
You always dress up. You never look at a place, and whenever you're casual, it's still dressed up. You know, you've always got, you know how they say someone's always got a tie on? Like, you know, and my husband, for example, he wears trainers, and people are like, well, you know, you're a dad now, you need to wear a pair of shoes. And he's like, well, my feet are so sensitive, I'm never going to wear shoes unless it's a wedding, you know? But you do always dress. And I just want to know, do you think your surrounding environment, being image conscious and being around people that are always going to notice you, do you feel like as being odd one out, you have to, like you said, you have to blend in? Like, do you think all of this is all part of the whole image of Errol Douglas?
Yeah. We'll put it this way, Lam. I think it's my uniform as well. It's my protective armour, if you call it that, because I was always brought up to show people respect and give them dignity, same as me, what I would expect. So I approach life like that, you know. So if I've got a client or if I'm on stage, you know, presentation is everything, because I want to be believed. And it's the same thing, you know. Just imagine me going to the doctors and they rocked up in a t-shirt, and you know, you're kind of, I know it's superficial, but it shouldn't be. But it's all about, you know, I'm doing this because I want to be presentable to you, and vice versa. If I was standing on the stage, I, you know, keep harping on about, because it's true, because I do so many international shows and stuff, and you have to stand there and you have to kind of command a little bit of respect and integrity. So it's important to me, but at the same time, you know, I don't feel out of place. You know, and again, it's to do with my upbringing. I'd rather feel overdressed than underdressed. If you're underdressed, you can't do anything about it. If you're overdressed, you can unbutton a, you know, you can take a little bit of your clothes off, so to speak. But if you are underdressed, you can't just leave the set and go and run and buy some clothes, can you?
No, that's true. With the whole pandemic and, you know, the Black Lives Matters, and now there's the thing like Stop Asian Hate, and there's a lot of things going on culturally. How are you feeling? Do you feel like you're even more segregated now? I mean, what are you doing to sort of, because you have a voice, you know, what are you doing to
I think that's a great question. For me, I would never go on the sides. I would like to say I'm right down the middle. Okay, I understand racism. I've had racism. I understand people not understanding people, but that's just a, you know, lack of understanding and ignorance. It's a little bit of upbringing as well, because, you know, you can feed hate and poison and negative stuff to your children because they're in that environment. But if your child is strong enough to get out of it, and it's like they're climbing out the cesspit, that's good. But just remember, as a young person and people, you influence a lot of people. So I've had this thing, and I always say, it's like, I always try to treat people with, you know, I'm always honest with them, you know, and I think that's the main thing. I try to understand and listen. If you notice our culture, we don't listen. We just judge and make snap decisions, and we're very verbal with our voices and our tongues, and our tongues can cause so much damage. So that's why a lot of people should kind of think before they speak, because it's everlasting and you can't take it back. There's no point in saying sorry, because the majority of people don't understand what sorry means, because they keep saying it all the time. If you were sorry, you would never do it in the first place. So, you know, it's quite pungent, but it's true. But from my point of view, I feel like, you know, this is the way how I bring my children up. My ex-wife is Irish. Our children are kind of cultural, they're mixed, you know, whatever you want to say, but they're cultural, they're millennial children. And you were part of that shoot. That was my idea of the shoot we did for Britannia. So they're millennials. So that's how I see life. I don't see it as them and us. I've never had that bone in my body. And it is quite interesting when people say, I'm not racial, I'm not this. You know, it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous state. This is 2021. If we can't live together now, we will never live together. You know, there's integration all over the world. You know, why would England conquer the world? Why are we part of the British Empire? Why? It just makes my blood boil that we're talking about this in this day and age. Women have to fight for equality in this day. Come on, it's a mockery. It is so. It's the most redundant argument and conversation of my life, because, you know, I'm 57 and this is what we're still talking about it. It's insane. It's insane. I don't get it, because I'm not part of it, man, and I'm not part of the I've got a chip on my shoulder. I'm not part of, somebody's held my life back, because they haven't. You know, I'm in charge of me, and I'm in charge of my life. You know, don't give me that kind of sob story.